ABC abruptly pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live last week, same day as our show, after Kimmel didn't make smart remarks like we did, but he made sharp comments, some people would say, about conservatives exploiting the assassination of activist Charlie Kirk. Now, the way we did it was a little smarter than what Jimmy Kimmel did. I think I lost the graphic here. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sorry about that.
Pull down.
They coming after us. All right. Well, that doesn't. Oh, here we go. There we go. We're back. It came after the FCC chairman Brendan Carr, a Trump appointee, warned that affiliates could lose their broadcast licenses if they kept airing the show. Nexstar, which owns nearly 30 ABC stations, quickly followed suit, calling Jimmy Kimmel's remark ill-timed and insensitive. Now, Disney initially called the suspension necessary to cool tensions, but after several days of what they described as thoughtful conversations with Kimmel, the company announced that the show would return tonight after our show. Still, that return has been rocky because Nexstar and Sinclair, two of ABC's biggest affiliate groups, who are also right-leaning, to say the least. My God, Sinclair has people giving editor reports on how good Trump's doing after every newscast. It's insane. But they've left Kimmel's reach and his ad revenue diminished because they own a lot of the stations surrounding this. The political fallout has been just as fierce. Democrats are calling this a blatant war on the First Amendment, demanding that the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, resign, pictured here. And some Republicans, like Senator Ted Cruz, haven't heard from him in a while, have warned that their own party, silencing Kimmel, sets a dangerous precedent that could just as easily be turned against conservatives in the future.
It's interesting. Brendan said, well, gosh, they slandered Charlie Kirk and his family. You know what? If they slandered him, there's already a remedy. There's a remedy of defamation. ABC could be sued. And by the way, you get a defamation lawsuit, you could pay millions of dollars. Let that process play out. I think it is unbelievably dangerous for government to put itself in the position of saying, we're going to decide what speech we like and what we don't, and we're going to threaten to take you off air if we don't like what you're saying. And it might feel good right now to threaten Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
But when it is used to silence every conservative in America, we will regret it. And so, again, I like Brendan Carr, but we should not be in this business. We should denounce it. It's fine to say what Jimmy Kimmel said was deplorable, it was disgraceful, and he should be off air, but we shouldn't be threatening government power to force him off air. That's a real mistake.
Wow. Ted, Raphael, making a point.
Go ahead, lying Ted.
We'll never see Ted again.
Meanwhile, President Trump has been clear about where he stands, doubling down on the idea that negative coverage of him should be, quote, not allowed, and suggesting that networks should lose their licenses altogether.
When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and you take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat Party. Thank you, everybody.
They're an arm of the Democrat Party. Trump going there. Do you think, though, this is a power play meant to kind of shock and intimidate people? Or do you think this is something that we should expect moving forward in this political environment where comedians, journalists, and networks face real government consequences based on, what people say on air? What you think?
I don't think that this is anything new. I think this is just the other side getting their comeuppance on this situation, because in 2018, when Roseanne, who was on ABC as well at the time, she called Valerie Jarrett, who was an aide of Obama's at the time, a Planet of the Apes character. That's what she called, and then she was fired. And there was people on one side who were like, good, she should have been fired. There are people on the other side that was like, no, this shouldn't have happened. This isn't right. And that's the same thing that's happening here. I think the problem that we have in this country is that we're fine with censorship as long as it aligns with what we want it to align with. And now that it's Jimmy Kimmel, there's another side who were probably happy about the Roseanne stuff. That's like, oh, no, this is not okay. But it's like, you were fine with it then. So like, what's the issue with it now? So like censorship, like Ted said, across the board, like if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it.
Ty, do you think we should expect more of this? I mean, I know you've kind of been dreading the end of democracy for a few years now, but do you think this is just the latest play in a greater plan?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, this just feels different from, like, I get what Dex is saying with the Roseanne situation, but this is a little bit different than that. Actually, listen to Jimmy's comments, because at first I was like, oh yeah, that was kind of, you shouldn't say that, but I didn't actually listen to the comments. I just like kind of heard commentary, and his comments were, in my opinion, not snatch down worthy, like snatch your show down worthy, like you saying essentially that Donald Trump is using this situation and doesn't care about this person. And you play an interview that says, Donald Trump, how do you feel about this? And Donald Trump points to the fact that his ballroom is finished, as you know, before he even had an opportunity to even feign mourning. I think that that's very telling, and I don't see why a person wouldn't be able to point that out. Maybe not. It's hard, like maybe not to say it in a comedic way, but
Exactly.
it's hard to play anything with Donald Trump without it being.
I get that. Yeah,
Trump
I get that.
Is a fool. Like how? What else? But I think that he's well on his way to using the powers of the FCC to start censoring people who are giving him negative press. And I think that that's a really, really big problem. He's already kicked out. Like, he doesn't allow certain press people to, like, he's already on his way to doing this. So I don't, like, this is not the same thing that happened to Roseanne. This is the president of the United States only allowing favorable press to come his way, and favorable comments and favorable coverage, and threatening people's livelihoods if they decide to go against him or to say negative things about him. And Charlie Kirk is just being used, as we knew would happen. He's being used as a tool, like a tool to push their agenda. Like these people, and now I'm going to go on record, and you can shut me down. These people don't care about Charlie Kirk, and I don't care what they say. None of these people care about him. Donald Trump least of all.
Right.
So they're going to sit around and pretend they care, but they don't. They're just using him to push their agenda, and that is all they care about. They care nothing about this man. They care nothing about this man's family, and that is really the tragedy, because they used him, and they used him to push their agenda, and they're doing it better. Like, he's more useful to them now than he was before.
Right. Eric, takeaways from Jimmy Kimmel getting kicked off a week ago and now making his way back, although he will not be airing in certain, markets. Like, for instance, Sinclair, I think in Baltimore, they don't own ABC, but they own Fox 45 or something like that. Like, it's one of those that they own.
Propaganda machine.
They are a propaganda machine. Are you excited for his comeback?
I mean, I'm not really a Jimmy Kimmel fan. I
Really?
really don't really watch. I really don't watch the show, but
Shocking.
I mean, I think it's a precedent. I think it's a dangerous precedent when we start censoring programs of this nature. I mean, the first on the chopping block should be Fox News, because they slandered Obama for years, and nobody said anything about them the way they were doing it. Trump was out here bashing everybody that wasn't for him for years. So, I mean, I think it's a dangerous precedent if we just start censoring people and stations and people from saying how they truly feel. I think everybody has a right to express themselves.
Even comedians, Dex? You think so?
Well, I mean, like I said from the beginning, this was something that has always happened. I can disagree, but I don't think it's separate from the Roseanne thing. I get it. It is the president at this point, but at the end of the day, censorship is censorship. And I think that we, in early 2000s and prior to that as well, there were so many words that you weren't allowed to say, so many things that you weren't allowed to do. And we allowed this stuff. We were okay with it. We pushed this stuff. We allowed this narrative to go on for quite some time, and now that the shoe is on the other foot, people are upset about it, and that's what's happening.
Shoe is not on the other foot. I don't want you to think that this is the same thing as
we can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree. Well, actually, you can agree to disagree.
So,
I can agree that
no way we're going to sit here and pretend that what Donald Trump and them are doing is the same thing as like someone getting on TV and using the N-word, or getting on TV and using racist and disparaging marks against people based on.
No, it's not the word that they said you weren't allowed to use. There's other words that you won't even use. You won't use these words because you think they're bad words.
Anyway, So that this is by like I love that like Donald Trump and his people do want to sell this as the same thing, but it's not. It's a part of their overall plan. Like this is ridiculous. Like what they're doing is beyond anything that anyone has ever been able to accomplish. So we're not about to pretend this is the same thing.